Okay, welcome to the Peripheral Views podcast, everyone. Thank you for joining us. It is January 19th, 2024. I'm your host, Jake. My co host, Errol, is once again joining me from afar. Errol, what's going on tonight, my friend?
Oh, I'm actually ready this time. I'm
Round-
I'm good to
Take
go.
two.
I'm excited.
This is a take two. This is a take two. We did pump out a fireside chat last week, which was nice. But we're prepped and ready to go for a little Blaze Foley talk. This will be another entry into the music series of the podcast. I believe this is our fourth entry. Kind of a weird, it actually is not exactly numeric, based on the idea that like we did do two parts. We did a two-part on the Lupe Fiasco episode, but still same piece of music we talked about. So this will be our fourth piece of music in that series and the fourth installment of music to talk about in that series. We're talking and it's also a little bit of a side quest sort of because it's not really a studio album. As I'm sure you noticed, Errol, it's more of a compilation of like recordings. It's called "Sittin by the Road" by Blaze Foley. Blaze Foley was an absolutely iconic member of like a folk movement of the 70s and 60s, especially in the southern USA. Pretty important figure in music, just generally speaking. Quite a bit to talk about with him. But before we kind of dive into that, Errol, what did you think about our fireside chat? How we kicked things off? Do you think there was? I mean, how do you think that went overall, and what are we gonna do next time? You think?
Um, I think it was good for what it was. We didn't plan on it or anything, so it was kind of definitely authentic.
Kind of acted as like a primer, right? It was nice and short, pretty tight, but we only chatted for about 45 minutes or so. Didn't really do a deep dive. I anticipate, just for the listenership to be aware, I would anticipate us kind of doing a bit more deep thinking stuff on those future fireside chats. I mean, it was impromptu. It was more just a bit of a filler episode, but
Just
a
because I
great
messed
opportunity.
up, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. No, it's good. No, no, listen, like I said, you gotta sometimes you gotta make lemon, or you gotta make lemonade when you get them damn lemons.
Yeah, so you know this, so this is a good segue into something that I like recently kind of hit me like a truck.
Okay,
Um,
let's hear it.
Life never gave us lemons.
What do
We
you mean?
gave life
Like,
lemons. Lemons are a cross between a bitter orange and a citron.
also they're like a hybrid
Yeah,
fruit. Are they
they
technically a
did,
fruit? They're a fruit, right? Because they have seeds.
yeah, yeah, but they are very much a hybrid. But yeah, they did not exist in nature. We didn't give life, or life didn't give us lemons. We gave life lemons. So you do what you want with that. We are the masters of our own universe.
That's kind of like, yeah, it's a little cerebral. That's no, I love that though. That's actually because you can. It's just like everything though. Like everything is kind of like everything can kind of be spun philosophically to be like
Yeah,
valuable.
glass isn't half full, it's 100% full, whether it's full with water or oxygen,
Yeah,
it's still
right,
full.
right. You can do a lot with if you think all if you think all the way down to something, you can pull value from it pretty much however you want to spin it because it's all about the way it's all about perspective. But no, I intend for that fireside chat discussion, the future discussions, which I think we'll probably circle back to it in the next couple months. I would imagine we're kind of booked out as we discussed at the end of the episode, through probably the end of March. But I would imagine we'll probably pump one or two out before the summertime, and then maybe over summer we could actually sit down, do some outdoor recording, and sit down around an actual fire, which would be nice. I'd like to do that. But that being said, let's what do you say? Let's dive into some Blaze Foley. Let's talk "Sitting by the Road" by Blaze Foley. Pretty solid. I mean, I really want to talk Blaze Foley just to kind of like introduce the figure to the audience who are unaware of his music impact, cultural impact, just who he is as a person. Pretty interesting story. Errol, did you get a chance to read about the artist himself, or did you kind of just focus more so on the music side of things for this record?
I had to crunch for the music.
You
so
had
I
to.
wasn't
I'm
able
sorry.
to. I had to crunch for the music, so I wasn't able to look into the deputy dog.
Oh man, he is that. He is indeed that. So Blaze was like a he's a very interesting character in the world of music. He had like this um he was almost it seemed as though well, I will say this. I guess the best way to kind of introduce things and to kind of start diving into his story a little bit is there's a bit of a connection, right? So there's going to be a connection between this episode and a future episode that we're going to actually be doing in just a couple of weeks. And that connection is the bridge, I should say, between these two episodes is actually an unexpected name, and that name is Ethan Hawke. Errol, you know Ethan Hawke, correct? Most people do.
Yeah.
An amazing actor.
Well, not personally, but
No,
yeah.
no, but you know of him, of course,
Mhm.
as do most people. Ethan Hawke is a good bridge between two episodes that were between this episode and an episode we will do in the future. And Ethan Hawke actually directed a film. He wrote and directed a film called Blaze, and it's about Blaze Foley. Ethan Hawke is from Austin, Texas. That is where Blaze Foley, the artist, he didn't grow up there, but he spent a lot of his time um, kind of bouncing around doing small gigs, and he was very much discovered by a lot of these very like famous folk singers, which I think we mentioned in the previous podcast a little bit. But Towns Van Zant and Steve Earle and um, John Prine, and I believe we even discussed Chris Christopherson. These guys are like they're like the pioneers of like country folk, where it's just an acoustic. Usually, it's like an acoustic sound with some technical picking, like a different style of picking, a newer style of picking. Um, and it's a little bit faster. Some of it's a little bit slower. A lot of sweet songs, very soft. And there was also a movement going on in Greenwich Village, New York, as well. So I bring Ethan Hawke into the equation because not only did Ethan Hawke make this film about Blaze Foley because of the legend, the Texas legend that he was, um, and Ethan Hawke kind of having grown up listening to the stories of Blaze Foley as he was coming of age, but he also was responsible, and he actually played the role and was he played the role of uh, Chet Baker in
Okay.
and the film is called and I don't mean to jump ahead to the Chet Baker episode, but we are going to do a biography on the trumpetist or trumpeter Chet Baker, and the film was called Born to Be Blue, and it's basically Ethan Hawke playing Chet Baker. I've seen the film. Um, so between the two films, the Ethan Hawke, I think Ethan Hawke might have a pretty solid like this dude likes a lot of the same music. I think is the connection there, point of connection. But um, he's responsible for the film Blaze, which covered this. So if anybody's looking for like a cinematic or a more theatrical telling of the Blaze Foley story, that film was pretty well received. I have not actually seen it. I only know about Blaze through his music and just reading about him. But a pretty well received film, and a lot of people liked it. And it came out in 2018, and it's a good kind of passageway into Blaze Foley as an artist. But Blaze was a troubled guy. I mean, I've seen interviews with Ethan Hawke and with some people that knew Blaze, including I believe his longtime not I don't know if they were technically partners, but they were somewhere along the lines of that. They lived in a treehouse together. I'm struggling to pull her name here. If you just give me a quick second. Um, Sybil Rosen, that's her name. So they kind of lived together, and she was a lot of the inspiration for a lot of his music. She wrote a book called "Living in the Woods in a Tree," remembering Blaze. So that was the book that the film was based on, and it kind of told a lot of the story about Blaze and what he went through. And he was troubled, for sure, troubled, very much an alcoholic. I think a lot of drugs were involved. And he also was, like I said, he was friends with Towns Van Zant. Towns Van Zant, notorious drug use and alcoholism, very destructive. And the story goes that Blaze was basically just like allergic to success. Like this dude, every time that a record deal or some kind of opportunity was like knocking at his door, because as you can tell, like clearly has a songwriting talent. Like it's pretty obvious just listening to the way he sings. He has a very unique voice. His picking is exceptional, and his songwriting is also exceptional. And he would tarnish basically any opportunity he ever got.
Um, it's not like the most explored human emotion, but self-destruction's a very real thing.
For sure.
This, the we talk about it a lot, but the story of Icarus. There's one theory that he's just a angsty teenager who's like, you can't tell me what to do. What's the worst that can happen? And then suffers from not heeding his father's warning. Other theory is that he wanted to fail.
Yeah,
He
I
he
think that
knew
was
what
it.
would happen.
I think that's what it meant to Foley or Blaze Foley. I think that's basically what his kind of like reputation was, is that like he would just go on a bender and just kind of disappear. And I really wish I had read this book, because I think the book from Sybil Rosen was like I think it's mostly like a tell all of what Blaze was going through. But the guy was just, by all accounts, not a violent bad guy, like seemingly beloved by like most of the people in the community, the folk community in Austin, Texas, and throughout the state of Texas, wherever he was playing. Um, and it seemed as though he was truly beloved, but I think the key word there is self-destructive. Like I think that was a lot of it. Um, but a fascinating guy, and you can kind of tell there's like a very like there's a tenderness to the man that you can really feel through his music. And I will say this, um, I guess we could go right into like how things kind of ended. So Blaze was killed. He was actually murdered at the age of 39, because of a bit of a something along the lines of a confrontation. Carrie January was the who was um, it's a complicated story. I'll read it from Wikipedia. It's kind of the best place. This is the place that kind of tells it in full in at least a paragraph or so. So I'll read it here. On February 1st, 1989, Foley was at a house in Bolden Creek neighborhood of Austin, Texas, where he was shot in the chest and killed by Kerry January, the son of Foley's friend Concho January. Foley had confronted Kerry January, accusing him of stealing his father's veteran pension and welfare checks. Kerry January was acquitted of first-degree murder by reason of self-defense. He and his father presented completely different versions of the shooting at the trial. Concho January, who has since died, liked to drink and proved an unreliable witness, even though he tried to testify against his son. Um, so yeah, I mean, once again, a tragic ending and a kind of a freak thing, because I don't think that he was surrounded by violent people and didn't really behave violently as far as he doesn't have like a lengthy criminal background. I think this was just a
Yeah, but
happenstance.
for some reason though, like musicians, they always do like crazy stuff. You know what I mean? They're always on that fringe.
It's true, especially like guys like this who are just. I mean, this dude's living. He lived in a treehouse for a very long time with the with his lover, Sybil Rosen. Like these two, they actually lived in. I think, and the important part about this compilation of music from Lost Art Records, Sittin by the Road, is that these recordings were from that treehouse. These were like very poor equipment. They used very poor equipment, and I really like that about it. That's one of the things that kind of drew me to it, is how poor the recordings are. There, it works for this style of music. There's a lot of other kind of music where that wouldn't play. You actually are going to want some like production value. I really like what this did for these songs.
Oh yeah, I think it sounds more intimate and like you were saying earlier, you said like it seems like he's kind of like opening up like a part of himself. Like it does seem like he definitely has like a wall up, but it's like inviting you in to see like a piece of, what was going on. It's just nice like you know what the whole album reminds me of, other than like, like quote unquote like sitting by the road, which is kind of literally what it is. It's like a if you were like a couple like train hoppers,
Yeah, right. Yeah, like a couple
just
of
like chilling.
buskers.
Right,
Yeah,
just two random guys just like chilling, just hanging out, telling stories.
it's actually it would have been a great. This is campfire music.
Hmm.
This is just sitting by a campfire with an acoustic guitar and just plucking away on an old ratty acoustic guitar, and like somebody pulls out a little tape recorder and happens to catch some magic, and like his voice is so unique. He's a unique fella. I will say this: the one thing I hate to like comment on his appearance, but like he died. He was murdered at age 39. The man looks incredibly old. Like I can't. I don't know if that's from the hard living
Looks
of.
like Burt Reynolds.
Oh my God, well. He just it's like in the eyes almost. Like he truly does look like a 50, 60-year-old man. But he in most of the there's a lot of YouTube videos you can watch him play, and you can watch him kind of toe tap along and play his songs. They're all over the place, and he does have a lot of like he has a lot of recorded music that is out there. Nothing, no big studio albums. Never quite made it to that, and I don't know that he ever really wanted to, according to some of the interviews I've listened to about him. I think he's a real fascinating guy. He's not exactly a pivot. He's a great case of what could have been. I think. I really think he had the talent to become one of those guys, a member of that of the Chris Christophersons, the Towns Van Zants, the Steve Earls. Like he could have made his way into that collection of writers, because I think he had the writing skill, and um, and if you get praise and you get a famous cover from the legendary John Prine, um, let's just say that you certainly made an impact at that point. So that's a little intro to Blaze Foley, kind of an intro and an outro. We kind of covered the man's story is unfortunately his music career was cut short. He was cut down by a in kind of an old west fashion too, right? Like his murder was like very very much like the
Yeah,
story of a western. It's like an outlaw story, so
cut down in his prime.
somewhat fitting, unfortunately for him. But that being said, let's dive into the album. We'll go track by track. There's only 12 tracks. They're pretty short. We'll do a quick sample for each. And then we'll close out our thoughts on the album and in whole, along with a quick rating and review to close out the album. But first up, Errol, you ready to pump it out? Let's do it. The first song, it's a great song. It's one of my favorite songs on the album. This one's called "Big Cheeseburgers, Good French Fries."
I got an angel of a woman with big brown eyes. Got friends in the country and old neckties. Love big cheeseburgers and good french fries. Could go fishing, but the fish draw flies. Could go swimming if it ain't too deep. Ready to sit here and rest my feet. No, I ain't lazy cause I don't like to sleep. Might just be lazy to you. I wanna live in the city, have a telephone. I wanna live in the country, throw my dog a bone. Ride on a spaceship, I wanna get lost. Mom still tell me about the penny it costs. I ride a bicycle, but my ass gets sore. Sell a holy Bible from door to door. Used to be stupid, but it ain't no more. Might just be stupid to you. Well, I like to drink beer, hang out in the bars.
All
Don't
right,
like
that's
buses,
big
don't like
cheeseburgers and good
cars.
French
Don't
fries.
like
Arrow,
presidents, don't
tell
like
us what you think.
cars. Never had stitches, but
I really like it. It's a like an unapologetic song about just like what he likes and not caring what anyone else thinks.
Yeah, it's really like it's about as simple as a song gets, and it's
Right.
also just like it's super endearing. I really like his like this just grounds the artist right here. This just takes the man, brings him right down to earth. He likes what you like what he likes, and your judgments of what he likes don't matter to him.
He
Not
knows he knows what he is and he knows what it could be seen like, but like that's your opinion. Might
Yeah.
just be lazy to you.
Yeah, but that's not for him. It doesn't matter. No, I think this is one of the catchier songs on the because it's got the like it's you get 4 lines and then he cuts it. It's very repetitive. It's very easy to memorize. It's got a great hook, great chorus. Angel, a woman with big brown eyes, friends in the country, old neckties, big cheeseburgers and good French fries. Could go fishing, but the fish draw flies. And he's trying to use damn cheeseburgers. So
Right. He already has everything he needs.
yeah, it's just fantastic. It's just a simple, basic little
And
song
it's like
about
in its country, but he's like, let's be real. Like it's not like we don't need to go like fishing and like,
yeah,
do all that, go hunting every day. He's like, just do big cheeseburger and good French fries. He's like, let's be real.
yeah. He's just relaxing. Like this is just this man is just like it really kind of embodies his soul. Like he's just he and in a southern style of living too, like in a big way because he's not overthinking it. It's not over. It's not trying to be more than it is. I think when he sat down to write the song, he was just like, I found this nice riff. I've got a good melody to it. I'm just gonna fill it in with the things I like in this world and the things that bring me simplicity and peace. And and by the way, who the hell doesn't like a damn big ass cheeseburger with some nice fries?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good start to the album.
They got some tasty burgers. All right, that
I've
being
never
said,
had a big Kahuna
I never
burger.
had no big kahuna burger. Look at the big brain on bread. Are we going to talk Pulp Fiction on this podcast one day?
Yeah, I mean, it is supposed to be peripheral views, and everyone like really likes Pulp Fiction. But there's Quentin Tarantino. I think
It's
the
a
only
very
reason
mainstream. If
we
you're
only
the problem with Tarantino is like I would love to talk Tarantino, but like all of his movies, none of his movies are peripheral, like in terms of like
right,
their
and that's
role
the
in the
reason
world.
why we haven't done anything yet. So don't get us wrong, we love them,
No, I think we could
but
still probably work something in
we
Reservoir
probably
Dogs.
will.
I
I
think
mean, it's
I would like to do Reservoir Dogs if anything, but um,
only a matter of time.
yeah, it's the clock is just ticking when we get to him. But back to Blaze Foley and Sitting by the Road. Let's move into what is probably, I think, inarguably the most important song on this album, and will probably provoke the most amount of dialogue from you and I, and most discussion about any one song on the album. This one coming up, take a listen. This one's called Clay Pigeons.
I'm going down to a Greyhound station, gonna get a ticket to ride. Find a big fat lady with 2 or 3 kids and sit down by her side. Ride till the sun comes up and down around me about 2 or 3 times. Smoking cigarettes in the last seat. Try to hide my sorrow from the people I meet and get along with it all. Go down where people say, oh, sing a song with a friend. Change the shape of a man. And get back in the game. Start playing again. I'd like to stay, but I might have to go to start over again. Might go back down to Texas. I might go to somewhere I've never been. Get up in the morning, go out at night, and I won't have to go home. Get used to being alone and change the words of the song and start singing again.
Right, that's Clay Pigeons. Errol, are you familiar with this song? I guess would be my like startup question.
No, I wasn't, but I see like a lot of people covering it.
Oh man, this is the one right here. So this is a very important song in the career of Blaze Foley, first and foremost. Um, I think it's his. I think it's the best song. It's the best written song I think he's ever made. Um, and it was like you said, it's been covered a million times. It is his song. This is an original writing from him, but the version that was covered by John Prine ended up being a part of an album that actually was a Grammy Award winning. So the song got its accolades under John Prine, and John Prine tells many a story about Blaze Foley and the way that he was and his nature. And there's actually I heard a story about Blaze, that he used to go whenever John Prine would come down to a club or a venue in Texas. John Prine would, and this was before John Prine was who he was. John Prine, one of the great, rest in peace, one of the great songwriters in the history of American music. He used to, whenever he would play before he was famous, he would play these small little clubs, little venues or whatever. And it was told that Blaze Foley would just go down to these sets of John Prine's, and he would just sit cross-legged right under the stage and just sit there and stare and listen and absorb, and just like a sponge, just like absolutely mesmerize over the writings of John Prine. And in his obsession with it. So I think it's a beautiful story, because it's, to know that John Prine would go on to become who he became, and then go and cover a Blaze Foley song long after his death, and make it way more famous, and really sparked a lot of people to go back and listen to Blaze Foley's music. I think John Prine has a big role in the exposure Blaze Foley got posthumously as an artist in the world. What do you think about the writing in this song, Errol, overall? I believe you're muted, sir.
I believe you're right. I really like it because it's it seems like really deep, but at the same time it kind of like lulls you through it. It's almost like a lullaby.
Yeah, in some ways, it's really a song about, it's a song about being in the South. Like a lot of it's trying to explain what the mundanity of being Southern. And a lot of it is, it's one of those songs where, like, I think he's really kind of digging at being without love and without a home, like without truly having a home, but feeling home when he's in the South. So like having to travel for gigs, having to move around to make money, as a musician, and what it's like to be lonely, but also to know, to reconnect with the feeling of being home.
Right, having some familiarity.
Yeah. I love the inverse of like feeding the pigeons some clay, which I think is really funny. A funny spin on like on disc target shooting and shit. It's like a nice little. This is a good annotation here from a contributor on a Genius that I really liked from genius.com. The contributor, I'd like to credit him, but I don't have him pulled up here. It is WW James was the contributor of this comment, which I really thought was good. It's a play on clay pigeons, a nickname for a clay disc targets used in trap shooting. The metaphor isn't belabored, leaving the listener to determine the meaning behind the image. In the context of the song, the world-weary and downtrodden singer who's licking his wounds as he looks to regain his footing may identify with the pigeons, harmless creatures of gentle songs, sometimes reviled as a nuisance, merely for existing as they scrounge to get by. That he feels compelled to feed them builds on the underlying theme that he's a generous spirit trying to find something to contribute. When I know what to say, quote unquote. But that he'd feed them clay brings it back to the fact that he feels like he has almost nothing to offer. For now, he feels like little more than target practice for a cruel world. I think that was perfect, and I really do think it is, like, because most of his songs are so somber, right? And he actually mentions some of the songwriting, like about writing. Most of the time, he writes sad songs, and but they are sweet. They're sweet by nature, and they're quite nice.
Yeah, they're not like sad for the sake of just being sad.
No. And he does have something to say too, and they're like they're written like old country classics, while sounding like the form of like a new age at the time folk song, like a quiet little acoustic folk song.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that the lyrics, some of the lyrics were changed from this when I guess John Prine, who's maybe a little kinder soul, changed the lyric. Find when he says find that big fat lady with 2 or 3 kids and sit down by her side. He changed it. He actually changed the lyric from that. Find he just says find that lady, I believe, which is a little nicer. Although I do kind of feel like there's some like almost a descriptive realism that Blaze brings to that line by describing her as a big fat
Like
lady
I
with
could
two or
see
three
it on the
kids.
bus.
Yeah, it's just that descriptor. Like, I mean, maybe it's not nice to call her a big fat lady, but like there are big fat ladies in the world. Like they exist. Like they're fat
Right.
people of all kinds. So like, I mean, I think he was just describing what he was seeing when he wrote the song. But and maybe he rode the bus so many times that he just, you know,
He's talking about like what he's like that one lady.
yeah, that's the it's the same. Maybe it's the same lady, or he saw the same woman multiple times in different, but it was different women. They just they reminded him of each other. Um, but yeah, his like there's a sense of longing and a sense of lonesomeness that he's exuding through the song. It's not really having a purpose or trying to find his purpose, and you know, ride till the sun comes up and down around me about 2 or 3 times. I mean, he's traveling. I mean, he's trying to make a living as a musician, and he's alone, and he doesn't have a true home, but the South feels like home, Texas, whatever it is. Um, I think it's a beautiful song. It really is. And it became a classic after John Prine covered it. I really think it's a great one. Um, but that being said, let's move into the next one. We'll keep things rolling. The next one is our title track for the compilation record. This one's called "Sitting by the Road."
Sit by the road, go nowhere. But I'll get there somehow, someday, some way I know. Sit by the road, looking at the sky. Wonder where do we go? Why do we die? What did I say? Did I really try? Just sit by the road, not a doubt in my mind. But if you believe that, you believe anything. Stay in when it's nice, go out when it rains. What's bad about that? When you're sitting by the road.
All right, that's "Sitting by the Road." Really like this one. This one actually is in my upper echelon for this for the Blaze Foley songs for sure. Errol, what are your thoughts on it?
Oh no, I think this is really nice too. They could have either did this one, or the big cheeseburger and good French fries for the first song.
Yeah. It really could have worked in either case. I agree with you.
I think they're both like the flagships of it.
Yeah, they embody his nature as a person,
Mhm.
right? He's kind of tongue in cheek. He's a little sarcastic. He's just kind of he's telling his listeners like, well, first of all, it seems as though he's been kicked to the curb, right? Like that's the idea of the song. Like his relationship is over, and he's out by the road, like because I get that sense from the line, like, why did I say that I'd really try? Um,
Well, and so from that one too, you know what I got from that? Like you said, how he never really truly tried to get in that like upper echelon of like the greatest of the greats.
oh yeah, right, yeah, yep.
I feel like he's just sitting by the road like wondering all this stuff and he's like, why did I say like I'd actually like,
Give it
try
a
to do all
whack.
this stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I didn't he's like, I just want to chill.
He's like, yeah, I mean, his nature is fantastic. I mean, it's just great. He's just like, he doesn't need anything. He just needs a guitar and just to sit by the road and take off your shoes, play with your feet. Knees need a rest, don't need nothing to eat. Like he just the song is about living a simple life and being simple, and like it's also kind of like that, that glass half full, or making lemonade out of lemons. he's just got a good disposition about it. He's good. Like things aren't going that well, but wondering where do we go? Why do we die? Like, I mean, he's just a thinking man, but mostly a thinker and not so much a doer.
Hmm.
It's I get a really what kind of imagery does this one land with you? Because I think of like an old dusty dirt road in the south, like on a countryside in the middle of like a hot summer day. That's what comes to mind for me.
Yeah, me too. Like a bus stop.
Yeah, yeah. He's just kind of hanging. He's just sitting by the road, just sitting by the road with a guitar, sitting on maybe a bag of his goods, and just tapping away, just
And
playing.
like legitimately has nothing to do.
Yeah,
Just sitting by the road.
yeah, yeah. It's a great tune. But we'll keep this train rolling. Errol, have I? I guess I should ask. Have I hit? We were gonna play. Well, let's play this game at the end. Is I'm gonna try to pick your what I think is gonna be your favorite song. So we'll do that at the very end. Let's move into the next one. This one coming up. This one's called "Slow Boat to China."
Long, hot, lonely, lonely night in Texas. Long, hot, lonely, lonely night for me. Woman on my mind way off in Georgia. Pretty woman as I did ever see. Pretty face and sweet, sweet smile in Georgia. Sweet, sweet kiss is gonna melt my tennis shoes. She wraps her arms around me back in Georgia. Drives me wild, she drove away my blues.
All right, "Slow Boat to China." Errol, I like this one a lot more than most of them on this one. This one speaks to me. It's nice and slow. Something about it seems real familiar too. I don't know what it. The first time I heard it, like where when he kind of brings in the hook of the end of each measure, I'm just like, I feel like I've heard this song like a million times, but I know that it's not because he's ripping somebody off. It feels like this song's been ripped off a lot.
You know what? There's like a couple songs like that that I hear.
Where like I just kind of know what he's about to say, but even though like the
Hmm.
first time I heard it, when he says woman on my mind way off in Georgia, like as soon as he says I just knew he was gonna say Georgia. I don't even know why. I just did. It's I think I'd heard this maybe I'd heard the song peripherally, no pun intended, at some point. Where it just clicked, but I just kind of knew he was gonna. There's something very familiar about the song, and I really, it's an old classic, soft, slow like molasses blues song, like a Mississippi Delta blues song brought to a snail's crawl.
Oh yeah, this song's definitely like they're on a ferry.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they're moving at the pace of a slow boat to China, and the pace of the song just fits exactly with that trope. It's right there.
It's
Um,
on a riverboat in the bayou.
just tugging along, just a tugboat, just moving along through the bayou. Um, real hot, it's a real sweaty night. That's what I heard. Like the buzzards, just or the what do you call them? The what are those southern bugs that kind of chirp real loud at night? Not crickets, but they're a specific bug. I can't remember what they're called. There's a lot of them in like Southern Virginia in the swamps and whatnot. But that's kind of part of the imagery, though. And it works really well. Does this one land in your top? Is this in your upper echelon as well, or is this one kind of like on the back end of things for
I really like it, but it's kind of on the back end for me.
you? Okay.
This seems like one of the nicest songs on the album to like dance with your loved one in the kitchen too, though.
Yeah, it is kind of like that. Yeah, it's because it's nice and soft and slow. It's like you're winding down the evening. It probably would
Mhm.
have worked a little better later in the album, but the way the album kind of flows, and reminder, this isn't the way this album was not constructed the way Blaze Foley would have wanted it. He was long dead when this was compiled. So they put these together in just a different order, that just the order they thought Lost Art Records, how they thought it would fit together. Um, but I kind of like how this album. I do like how they did it. It kind of ebbs and flows, where like it'll pick up a little bit and then it goes to a kind of a slower song, and then it'll pick up a little bit and then it kind of like moves very like seamlessly through the album. But let's move into the next one. We've got a handful more here going. Let's do next song up is called this one's called Election Day.
Hey, Mr. Policeman, please don't take my stuff. It cost me too much money, and it probably ain't enough to get me through election day. Didn't I hear you say, but it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. Wouldn't even weigh things, hardly worth your time. Luck's been bad, the telephone just kept my only dime. There might be a burglary. Why don't you just go and see? I'll be alright, I'll be alright, I'll be alright.
All right, that one's Election Day. This is probably top 3 for me. Easily top 3, I'd say. This one's great, and it's nice and short and sweet. It's not complicated, but it does. I think there is something to it though in terms of the writing. I think he's getting at something. Errol, what do you think? What are your initial thoughts?
It's almost like a direct critique on like the war on drugs.
Yeah, it really. That's exactly what I was getting at. Continue on that. Take that apart.
And like he's right. He's like, dude, I got like $30 worth of weed. Like 50, I spent $50 on this. Like for like a minute amount of whatever drug he had. He's like, it cost me too much money because like this is all I had. Is like, and it probably isn't even enough. Like to one, get me in trouble, or two, like I am not the people you're after.
No, I
And
think it's different. I want to pull. I want to see if I can pull you or sway you a little bit in a different direction. I think he's literally. It might not even necessarily be about the war on drugs. I think it's more so about. I mean, it is. It's pretty obvious that it's like when he says stuff and the police are taking his stuff. I think it's mostly. I think it's mostly about like promises that the politicians are making, and like, hey, don't hey, government or law enforcement official who is kind of like a talking, is almost like a caricature of the government. Don't take my stuff because don't take my stuff because it's attached to all my money. It cost me too much. And don't you know that there's an election day coming? Didn't I hear you guys tell me that like once the election's here, you guys made all these promises during the election cycle that like things would be different. So I've got enough to get me to that election day. Once election day is here, then it's going to be all right. It's going to be good. You won't have to take my stuff anymore because you guys are going to fulfill your promises, right? Like I think that's what he's kind of getting at. He's like the bullshit messaging of political campaigns that when election day comes that everything's actually going to be great now that you've been
he's
elected.
peddling the same thing to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, once I get to election day, everything's going to be good, right? Because then all the laws will be different because you guys promised all of your promises will come true once you've been elected, right? I think it's actually a pretty smart piece of writing from him. It's very small and simplistic in terms of its approach. I do like the picking style too. The picking style is like a little bit more technical. It's a little bit more offbeat, off kilter, but it's also a little faster, right? So it's a little quick
Hmm.
little song too. It goes by in a flash. It's only a little over 2 minutes, like most of the songs, but like it kind of like he kind of just cycles through these. I think it's like 12 measures, or not even. I think it's actually eight measures of lyrics. and he blows right through him. But I definitely one of my favorites because I think this one it's got the Blaze Foley sound. It's got that it's catchy, and it's got some messaging that I think it's one of his more deeply written songs. Do you think I'm onto something there, or is that maybe I'm teasing that apart a little too much?
No. I think there's a lot to it, and I think there's a reason why it's so small. It's because of that. He got everything he wanted like into it.
Yeah, I think that could be right. That could be about right. Okay, let's move to the next one. We'll keep things rolling. The next one's coming up is gonna be "Let Me Ride in Your Big Cadillac." Coming up next.
Let me ride in your big Cadillac, oh Jesus. Let me ride in your big Cadillac. I can see the pearly gates where the angels wait, standing all around your big Cadillac. Won't you take me by the hand, lead me to the promised land, and let me ride in your big Cadillac? Does St. Peter know that
All right, that's "Let Me Ride in Your Big Cadillac." Errol, this is the damn Hearst song. This is about dying. Tell me all about it. You can only do that when you're unmuted.
Is it yeah, I suppose it is the Hearst song.
It's a damn Hearst song.
You know what I got from this?
Let's hear it. Maybe you've got something better than because I mean that's my interpretation of the big Cadillac is that it's a Hearst. But am I off? Am I what do you got? Tell me what you got.
I don't think you're off, but I think that I'm at a way different place that you're at. If you ask me, this almost is like the same reason why I was thrown off by the neon cross.
Okay.
It's like the commoditization of religion.
Oh, okay. I see.
Like Jesus is like the famous like person, and everyone's like crowding him like around his big Cadillac.
This is Jesus Christ Superstar, right
Right.
here.
Everyone's like freaking out and raving, and he's like, Jesus, like I want to go in the Cadillac. Can I please go in the Cadillac? Like can I join the entourage?
Oh,
He's
yeah,
like,
kind of like
if
the song
even
Superstar.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh my God. It's like it literally is. He's
Because
like
yeah, because of all
dude,
like
this is
the
technically
purgatory.
Superstar. Yeah, this is technically Superstar cranked up a bit. Cause he's like, yo, let
Well,
me come and party, Jesus.
this
He's
is
like,
like
I
the
see.
damn. These are the bones. These are like the bones of it, or like the foundation of that song.
Yeah, like he's just like, but he's just straight up like, I don't even want to like be let into heaven. He's like, I want to come party. He's like, I want to like, hang out with what you're doing. I see what you're doing. He's like, yo, does St. Peter know like that I'm trying to go in there? He's like, let me hop in. And so even looking at the end too, he goes, I heard you traded in your cross to God the Father, God the boss. And he's like, now let me ride in that thing.
Yeah, you might be right. I think it's I don't know. Man. I always took it from the perspective of that he's like the Cadillac is the hearse, and that's like the vessel that's going to bring him to Jesus when he passes. Um, and when he goes to like his when he's long dead and he's being when he's being transferred to like his gravesite, he's got to stop at the church. Maybe you're right though. I mean, I guess it could be interpreted that way. I'd like to hear him talk about it.
Well,
Unfortunately, he
if
passed
that
young. It's
if
hard
that
to.
is the case, like in earnest, if that's the case, because it has to, no matter what, this has to be satirical. Because that song in earnest is just like asking to die,
Yeah, that'd be literally him asking, "Please just
which
let me
is
die."
technically like a sin. You can't like,
Yeah, you never know. I mean, he had such a tough go of life, and he clearly had some. I mean, him being killed is not really an indication of that, but more so like the alcoholism and the. I mean, he was. There's some stuff. I mean, I would like to see the film too. I wish I had gotten a chance to watch it before doing the podcast, but maybe we could talk about it at another point in time down the road.
you
Um,
can definitely tell that this song's like heavily influenced from like that gospel band he was in.
oh, of course. Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. You can tell there's some roots in that. and you can tell he's like vocally trained for that too, right? Like there's
Mhm.
like he's
Like the
singing from the
cadence.
belly. Let's see. Okay, yeah, let's move it. Let's take it on to the next one here. Let's what do we got? What do we got? Oh yeah, this one next. This is a beautiful song, a damn beautiful song. This one's called Cold Cold World.
I've tried for a long time, but I think I can do. I could do it all better if I could do it again. Wherever I'm going, it's the same place I've been. Ain't it a cold, cold world? Outside was hot, but inside I was cold. The eyes of the young met the eyes of the old, and what they were thinking I'll never be told. Ain't it a cold, cold world?
All right, that's Cold Cold World. Errol, I got a feeling you like this one. Tell me what your thoughts are on it. That goddamn mute button's getting you big time.
I'm sorry, but there is a reason for it today. I've my chest. I've just been coughing, but it has been.
No,
It's
I
been.
trust you. I know. I've
I'm
actually been
here. I'm
coughing
here.
too. I've got the same cough I had from like 2 episodes ago. Anyways, go ahead and tell me
It's
what you think
back.
about Cold Cold World.
You're right. I do really like this. This one's almost like the antithesis of Sitting by the Road.
Yeah, it is. It's a very pessimistic view of the.
It's the manic opposite. He's like, you know what? Forget this. He's like, I was good earlier. He's like, it's freezing tonight.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it
Well,
is.
no, even then, he's like, it's hot. Or it was hot outside. He's like, but inside I'm cold. Yeah, he's like, you know what? Nice enough day. He's like, forget this. And then to top it all off, he's like, all right, maybe it's not that bad. Some old hags talking about daylight savings. He's like, it don't matter to me none. She's like, well, I don't mind. And then the bus driver's like, yo, you stole me money. He's like,
It's a cold world. So
man, I hate it here.
this song is beautiful because this song, okay, you could look at this song two ways. You could look at it one way as like, this is the bitchy song. This is like, I'm bitching about life. And that's actually, I don't know, in my opinion, in real life, like, I hate people who are like this, like, just like, oh, like, I can't get ahead. I just like, just bitching for the sake of bitching, ventilating. But in a musical sense, I absolutely adore it because it really harkens back to one of my favorite genres of music, which is just the damn blues again. Like this is the blues. This is that Mississippi thick Delta stuff just brought to life via the acoustic guitar and a folk sound. And I really think he nails it. And listen, I believe that James Brown wrote, didn't he write a song of similar of the same? Or no, that was it's a man's world. That's totally different. But
It's a
either way,
cold world.
he might have wrote a Cold World song too, but the blues are like this is all what the blues are about. This is how the blues reached people and why people fell in love with the blues because they were talking about in a descriptive way when you're down on your luck, and it gave people something to sing, and the blues are the Mississippi Delta blues harken all the way back to those like the old slave songs, right? Like the
I
songs that
was
slaves would sing when they were on like the chain gangs, and it just helped clean their souls. It was gospel. It was
so
like the word. It was
I've
God.
I was talking to like some friends in my group chat, and they're saying like modern and like older country music provided the same outlet to like toxic masculinity. Like in a world where you're supposed to be painted as just like rough and tough, you could have like a sad country song to be like, you know what, it's okay to be mad that the wife took the kids in the house. Like, you know what, I am feeling sad.
Yeah. Well, it's also because like listen, I'll say this like they some of those country music singers, I should say, like they did have that rough exterior, and if you listen, most people who know Merle Haggard know him for um Mama Tried and like Ramblin' Fever and Working Man Blues, like all these songs that were like kind of hard nosed, like I was a bad boy, like, and I was I was an outlaw, and like they don't know the sweet Merle Haggard songs. Like Merle Haggard had these beautifully sweet, nice songs that really were there were love songs to his whoever he his wife or whoever, and his love interests. But he also like that's an interesting thought because they really like kind of allowed men who, especially at a time where it was very difficult for men to talk about their feelings, it gave men a chance to like sing songs that are like, oh shit, that feels good because I actually did feel that internally, and now I hear one of my a famous man singing about those feelings, and now I can sing it off too. Like think about even Hank Williams. Think about the damn Hank. The one I'm talking about. The Hank Williams song that got famous because that kid was singing it in a Walmart. Um, geez, I can't off the top of my head. I can't remember it. I'm so lonesome I could cry. I believe. No. Love Sick Blues. That's the one. The Love Sick Blues. This dude gets in that song. This dude, Hank Williams. Okay, Hank Williams. You're talking about an artist who's probably a terrible guy. Let's be frank. Probably the worst, right? Just probably totally. You would imagine. I don't want to espouse.
I can't form an opinion.
I can't say he was racist, but I'm just going to assume, and that's probably maybe that's not right of me, but I'm presuming, but. I mean, on a personal level, he died in his 20s from just like just way too much whiskey, like just killed him. But nonetheless, this man was a pioneer of a sort because in like the 40s, he's singing about his woman like leaving him and like cheating on him and being like and two-timing him. And like that's a very shameful thing, like especially for a man to endure that in his
Right, to like
40s.
be like, she got me.
Yeah, that Love Sick Blues
I
is like
wasn't man enough to like keep her
yeah, like
in the house.
it's what I mean. It's like he's like real. That's actually pretty like an important thing that country music singers did, and I respect. Listen, I respect the craft, man. Like I don't know what the hell's happened to
I
country music
mean, that
now,
if that
but
happened to me, I couldn't come out and be like, she left me. She said I was a chum. She sleep with someone else. I
yeah,
would never admit that, but that's good for
no,
him.
but it's an outlet. That's what I mean. Is like, and there's actually this interesting book called by Terrence Real. It's called I Don't Want to Talk About It, and it's specifically for men out there listening. It's actually specifically centered around the difficulties that like men have faced across time, and especially all the way up until now with like confronting their emotional issues via psychotherapy or however they could whatever outlet they need. And we'll talk actually a little bit about this next week with when we get into the psychedelic medicine stuff. But that book actually kind of tackles like some of the expectations of men to subdue all their like emotional responses, especially the negative ones that could be perceived as like weakness in the world. And country music was a great outlet for some of those men to kind of get some of that stuff out in a musical sense.
Oh yeah.
And I think this is a good point about that. I thought that was an interesting take you had there.
Yeah, no, that's the theater people. Because they sent a meme that's like all like male country songs are like she took the kids, she took the house,
Well, it has a
and
reputation of being like very. It's always sad. Like it's always sad music.
then all the girl country songs are like, "Oops, I killed my husband."
Or they're like the Carrie Underwood one where she's like maybe like she's like gonna key his car because he cheated.
I said in the chat, I was like, it's because country music appeals to what um like country men want and what country women need. And country men want to be understood, and country women need to kill their husband and key the car. Like
and
they
key the
have to
car
do
on the
it.
way there. Yeah, no.
They probably deserved it, so it's got to happen.
Yeah, maybe and maybe not. I actually think there's a beautiful place in this world for country music. I think country music is like, I think it's gotten a little out of control. Like where it is now is even the catchy poppy shit that I actually sometimes do enjoy listening to is not country music. A and B, it's like it's every song is about the same damn thing, and it's like a cheeky, clever written tune about something really. They're all alcoholics. This is the problem. You guys have to stop drinking. Like stop
Well, what
drinking.
it is,
Drinking so much all the time.
it's if you're a country music star, like you're just trying to get an alcohol sponsor.
No, it's not that. It's because it appeals to the honky tonk bars that where they want their music to get played, and also that's where they're like performing. Like that's where
It's the exact opposite of like the strip clubs, because in rap it's called like the strip club test where you go to Houston, and if it bumps in Houston at the strip club, you're good to go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's like, well, in Houston, the country music version of that would be Nashville. Like my wife and I went to Nashville back in 2017, and man, we were there on like a Tuesday night in the middle of the fall on like the main street in Nashville, downtown Nashville, just kind of bouncing around to listen to going to the honky tonk bars on the strip. Tuesday night, this place it's like New Orleans, like, and these musicians are incredible. They're just the talent is unbelievable. This is on a Tuesday night. The places are packed, and there's like there's a rising star on the stage playing somewhere on any given night in Nashville, and I think that's what some of that is good, some of that is bad. There's some bad country music out there. I do think there are some good artists out there doing things differently now. We'll actually talk. Jason Isbell, I would say, is a country music guy, sort of. I don't really like putting him in that box. I think he's kind of on his own street, sort of, so to speak. Like I don't know that he quite fits in that box, but there are some other ones that we could list out. But
Would you put him like folk then?
nah, I call it alt country because alt country is different for me because it's like it's almost like so you've got like you know what the best compare I'll use film because you know me I'm always heart always comes back to the film for me. The way I describe it um country music is like a romantic film, like a Matthew McConaughey rom-com, right? That's country music. It's very popular. It makes a lot of money. A lot of people see it. It's very, very, very famous. Alt country is like eternal sunshine of the spotless mind.
It's
Like
it's like an art house.
yeah, it's like it's more thoughtful. It reaches at deeper emotions. It doesn't quite sound the same, or in the case of film, look the same. It's got some bigger ideas that are kind of stripped down and more accessible in like a layered back sort of way. That's how I would compare it. Like alt country, like you got like Uncle Tupelo and like Wilco and Drive By Truckers, and Jason Isbell used to be in that band, so like he would fall in that category as well. And Whiskey Town, and there's a lot of you could go on forever listening to all country's been around for My Morning Jacket. I would consider that as well. Like there's a lot of these types of bands, and it's one of my favorite forms of music because it kind of like it's like a low fidelity Leonard Skinner type of deal, which I think is just great. And there's not a lot of it out there, but there's enough to go around, and I think it's keeping country music alive and in the shadows, so to speak. But that being said, I think we should keep this. We'll keep this. Let's jump back onto the album and keep the train rolling. Next up, after we just did Cold World. Next one coming up. That one's gonna be. Let me just pull it up.
It's The Way You Smile.
I'm off my game. You're right. It's The Way You Smile. So next up, The Way You Smile. Give it a listen.
Talk to me. I like the way you smile. Sparkle in your eyes reminds me of her. Could you walk with me? Only want someone to hear my my story. And I won't keep you very long, and I will be going home to her.
Okay, that's The Way You Smile. That is a damn sweet song. Am I wrong, Aaron? What do you think about that too?
No, I think you're right.
It's one of those songs. So this is one of two of his songs that I find to be just like very refreshing. Very like they don't. This is kind of like we were just talking about a little bit, where like he's just writing this to like clearly someone he truly loves and like letting him know how he loves them. I think it's one of his sweeter songs. I mean, what do you does it I know it's maybe not one you go to, wouldn't be one that you would like circle back to throw on repeat because it is slow and soft and sweet, but I actually do I think it is a good listen.
Yeah, no, I think it's really nice. It's like you said, like an homage to someone special.
Mm-hmm. I like the line that always gets me in the song. He says, "Sometimes I just don't like me. Do you ever feel that way?" It's not the same though. It's probably not the same. Like
Right.
like that one. That's when you know he had problems. Like when he says it like that, like you might not like yourself, but like you don't not like me. Like it's probably not
Right.
like
Like
how I feel about
yeah,
me.
mine's worse.
Yeah, you really feel it the way he says it. Like it's almost passive the way he says it, and it's um
I like the lyric that or the like the stuff that leads into it where he's like, "What do you think of that? What do you think of this?" He's like, "That's not important." He's like, you ever just don't like yourself?" He's like, "Yeah, no, me neither, but mine's worse."
the song almost yeah, the song almost feels half written, and in strange way it works. Like I'm glad it's half written this way because it or he like stripped it way back to make it even more simple. Like because it really is like what he's getting at here is like there's a little bit of cliches in here. There's definitely some I mean, it's just this very stripped back, simple song that you like. Once again, another campfire tune that's just nice and sweet and kind of sad and somber, but is also very nice. And you know who he's talking to. It's almost like he sat right in front of his lover and like wrote this right to her while she
Yeah,
was.
it's like a conversation with him.
Yeah, truly. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Very very conversational. Um, Okay, well, let's move into the next track. The next track coming up, this is the ninth in the album. This one's called Rainbows and Ridges. Take a listen.
Rainbows and ridges and rhymers and rhymes, lovers and music all have a time. Someone gets started and someone resigns. Interstate highways and buses and planes would only take horses down memory lanes. And everything passes, what past will remain.
All right, that's Rainbows and Ridges. Errol, give me some of your initial thoughts on this one. I think it's a goodie. It's another simple, short one, but what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's another just nice, sweet song. I um, I lean a little harder towards like the front of the album.
This is where he
And the
loses you.
not no, he doesn't like lose me, but it's almost just like too like slow and sweet, and I got a lot of that from like the way you smile and
Yeah.
like clay pigeons and stuff. But it's very much like the the sincere like feel that he tends to offer in this songs. Like I don't want to say that like it's like not too like good or anything, but I had to sprint through the album. So I was like really gripped by a lot of the stuff, and then this one is I feel like I might have just had like a album fatigue, I guess.
Now, for me, it's not you. It's this one. This has always been the one that I like. I tend to skip, and it tricks me too because I think I'm really gonna like it because I actually don't love the. I like the melodies, but I really what I like most about it though is the instrumentation, like that those picked notes, the little um I don't know. I'm not musical enough to know exactly what he's doing there, but like he's doing like a half scale really quick, like I really like what he's doing with the guitar mostly in this song, and less so the writing. Um, I do like the song. I think it's catchy. I don't mind when
Y-
it's on. I tend to if there's a song on the album I skip, it's usually this one though.
you know what songs like this like make good for?
What's that?
Make really good remixes.
Oh sure, yeah, especially with the instrumentation because the guitar work could be you could do a lot with that. You can move it around.
And the like chorus is nice, like rainbows and ridges, rhymers and rhymes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good. All right, let's move into the next one and we'll get closing this thing out here pretty soon. Next one up, this one's a fun one. And when I say fun, I mean funny. This one's great. This one's called Fat Boy.
Well, it used to be heavy, but now I'm thin. Belly hung over, now my chest caves in. Eyes are glassy, and my britches fit me right. Feet are still long, and my hair is too. You don't have to move over, 'cause I can get through. I won't be a fat boy anymore. Well, I couldn't play ball, cause I couldn't run fast. Never got dates, cause I never got ass. Couldn't jump high or walk around too long. Couldn't talk much about the women I had. Friends talk about me, feel real bad. I won't be a fat boy anymore. Well, the girls would tell me that my eyes was blue. Sometimes told me theirs was too. Said I was funny and sweet as a mama's pie. Many long years hardly ever got laid. Now I know damn it that the dues have been paid. I won't be a fat boy anymore.
Okay, that one's called Fat Boy. That one's funny as shit. I love it. It's great. This is a great song. This is well written. This is comedic. This is catchy as shit. This ticks all my boxes. What about you, Errol? Muted.
I wasn't muted. I was just collect. No, yeah, I was muted. Jesus.
Yeah.
So I really like it as just like a scorn like fat boys anthem.
It really is. It's
You
like
know what I mean?
he's really you could tell this dude was at one point fat because
Had to have been, or at
he's way
least
too
like it had a
descriptive.
friend. Yeah, he's like, yeah, no, I'm funny. Yeah, I'm sweet, but like I'm a fat boy.
Yeah.
But I think it's so funny because like he's like, that's the only thing that's stopping me. Like he's like, I'm not shallow like you guys are.
Yeah. I mean he's
Like
just
if I wasn't fat, it'd all be different.
yeah. And now that he's not fat, things are going better, but still not great.
Right, yeah, then I think he almost like knows that too. But it's just like there's that hope, like that holding out. Like, cause although like in high school, I was like, oh, I'm fat because I technically weigh 200 pounds, but like my muscle percentile was like I was just had a lot of muscle, so even like a healthy weight for me would have been like 170. I was like,
Right.
oh, I'm fat. Like, no, you're not. And even if you were like skinny, if someone were to like date you or not date you because you're fat or skinny, like the shallow, like that's if 30 pounds is gonna like make or break you, you don't want to date that person. At least me.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, it's about. I mean, it's about transformation, but it's also about like I think he's just right. I think he's mostly writing the song to he's poking fun. He's being self-deprecating. And he's doing it really fucking well too, because it gets a chuckle out of me every time I hear the song. But it's also like it's almost like he wrote the song to remind himself of why it's better to not be fat. But that's just my perspective.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just something that like everyone, all the big boys can like be like, yeah, he's right.
Yeah, you can sleep. You can sleep on a pallet when the party ends. That's fucking great, man. I mean, that's really funny. That's just really, really funny. All right, we'll move on from this one. Let's move into the next one. The next one's called Faded Loves and Memories. This one's up next.
Faded love, memories, how they take the best of me. This old chain around my shoulders only making me look older than I am. But I'll get over you someday. Faded love, memories, where I go they follow me, and I just can't seem to lose them, so I might as well just use them one more time, one more sad old country song. Faded love.
Right, Faded Loves and Memories. Errol, what do you think about this song?
Ooh, this is one of the top tier ones, if you ask me.
Ooh, really? Okay. Oh, that's a little
Yeah.
surprising for me.
No, I really like this because you could slap this right in a Fallout game, and
Oh, you're
no one would
so
bat an
right.
eye.
You're so right.
Oh yeah,
This song needs all the song truly needs is the wailing of a steel guitar in the background, and you could play it in any truck diner in America.
or like even like a piano.
Yeah, just like yeah, like an old grand piano would fit
Yep.
perfect in this one. But like once again, low fidelity, poor recorded, production quality on some tape recorder, and like you have the bones of like classic country songs, but like they're coming to you in this form, and I still love it even as is for sure. But this is a beautiful country song right here. I mean, it really is, and it's exactly what country songs do. Like we were saying, it's just meant here. It's just here to be sad.
It's a snow globe of sadness.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. Just to be shaken up every now and again, and especially as the memories as his love and memories fade. Like he's reminded when he sees a person, a woman flip her hair or brush her shoulder.
Yeah, and I think it's also sad too that he's saying like the like not only the memories have faded, but also the love.
Yeah. It's like it's very painful song, very painful, and you can really feel it in his voice too. I mean, he's pouring himself out here.
Yeah, and he doesn't even want to cry about it. He's like a one more time, one more sad old country song. He's like another day, another dollar. Here we are.
Yep.
Another sad country song, faded love, memories,
He's just like he's just is exhausted from his pain.
right? And he knows everyone else is sick of everything else too. So he's like, here it is, here I am.
All right, well, let's close this puppy out. Let's do our last track. Errol, this is a big one for me. This one's called If I Could Only Fly. Take a listen.
Almost felt you touching me, just now. Wish I knew which way to turn and go. Feel so good, then I feel so bad. I wonder what I ought to do. If I could only fly, if I could only fly, I'd bid this place goodbye, come and be with you. But I can hardly stand, I got nowhere to run. Another sinking sun, another lonely night.
All right, that's If I Could Only Fly by Blaze Foley. Errol, I'm going to come right out and say this is my favorite song on the album.
Oh man, you should have you should have gave me the second because I was gonna be like, "This is your favorite song." I know it.
I should have given you the
Let
same.
me do it, you.
How are you going to
jerk.
know that? Damn. Did I already say it
Because
was?
no,
Oh, wow. You just know me that well. Okay.
I should have jumped out and yeah, but I was gonna be like, "This is your favorite one."
You're goddamn right. This is the best damn song. This is the best song he wrote too on this collection. I think Clay Pigeons is probably the most well written song, but this one is like this is Blaze Foley to me. This song is truly Blaze Foley. It's about his wife at the time, Sybil Rosen. It was at the time in the late '70s. It was like the song he was most well known for, his most popular. Merle Haggard picked the track up at one point and cut it with as a duet with Willie Nelson in '87.
I've heard, yeah, that's what it's from.
And they used
Okay.
to sing it in concerts together. Yeah, it's amazing. It's a beautiful fucking song, man. The song, it actually when I first kind of started listening to Blaze Foley, it was like right after my oldest was born, and like this song would I was working a lot, and I used to play this for her when I would rock her to sleep, and it would just make her go to sleep. Like the song will always be kind of attached to my daughter for sure, because it's like the nights that I would come home and she would be like ready for bed, and like she was just a little baby, so I always used to rock her to sleep, and I'd put my phone right next to the table next to the rocking chair, and I would just rock her to sleep to songs like this. And this was one of the 10 tracks that she would just be out like a light, because it's very it's lulling, and it's so sweet, and it's all the whole song is. You don't have to dissect this one. This one's not deep. It doesn't have any deeper connotations. It's just about not being with the person you love or want to be with, and wishing that you could be with them, and wishing that they could be with you while you're away. So it's like about being lonely, but being in love and loving someone from afar.
But it's about longing.
Yeah, longing that's the word. That's exactly the word, right?
I figured if this one wasn't your favorite, or not the song you get attached to one of the girls, it would have been The Way You Smile.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, yeah. I mean, it's this one will live forever in my mind with my kids. It's fantastic, and I really haven't really had to have too many. I will say that, like he says, you know, another sinking sun, another lonely night. I've been very lucky. I know a lot of fathers are out there who don't get to be with their kids. They have to spend nights away from their kids. I haven't had too many of those. There's been only a few in their entire lives so far. And they're hopefully there's very few to go, because it's you want to be with your family as much as possible. But the song is just like it's a heartache song, right? This song is about aching to be with the ones you love and longing for them, like you said. It's as sweet as songs get. I think melodically it's like the prettiest he sings. For me, I think it's his best vocal performance. It's great. It's a damn masterpiece. Are you on that page, or is it kind of just okay for you?
No, I really like it. Um maybe this is like a really big reach, and it probably is like the biggest reach that I tend to do, but I like jumps like this. Um, there's something like hauntingly beautiful about this man singing about wanting to fly when like the animal most known for singing is a bird.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. He's like a song. He's like a songbird
Right, but like without the one thing
without the
that he wants
wings.
to, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's like a bird without its wings is literally nothing. So, and that's also like kind of like the depressive thing that he's like on about. He's like he feels like something's missing or whatnot, but like if he could only fly, then he would like truly be
Oh,
he'd be whole.
you know, it would have like really played well for this song. Like if you could have done like if at the very end he closed the song out with like a verse where he whistles that melody at the end.
Right.
That would have been perfect. That would have been
But even like
absolutely
the
gorgeous.
melody, I mean, and also like reaching just because I've already like kind of like came to that conclusion, but
Yeah.
like it almost like do 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 do. Like I could hear that, like in the
Mhm.
do do
Yeah,
do do
it does.
do.
It kind of does. Yeah, you know, you're not. I don't think it's intentional. I think it's a happy coincidence, though. I think that because
Yeah,
I think you're
exactly.
right. I think that fits pretty well because that does sound. It does sound like something a bird would hum to or whistle to or how or
Like
sing.
something that you would hear like that would be melodic on accident in
Yeah,
nature.
like in the trees during the summer. Like yeah, I'm with you there. I actually no, that's not that big of a reach. It's actually I think it'd be a reach to say that he was intending to draw that connection. I don't think that's what you're saying though.
Right, right.
I
I
think
don't think
just
that that was his intended, but
but it works
that
in
is
that context too.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my favorite song on the tracks or on the album. So
What do you
that
think
one.
mine is?
Yeah, so we're gonna get into that. Let's do it. If I had to get, I'm kind of now that we've talked about it, I'm almost like feeling to I have a feeling to change my or reselect a different pick for your favorite song. I'm gonna say that your favorite is going to be. I think you like Cold World.
Oh, very close, almost literally like close in
Um,
both.
is it the way you smile?
No, no, it's a let me ride in your big
Oh,
Cadillac.
it's the Cadillac.
Let me ride in that Cadillac, Lord Jesus. Move on over.
And
Come
in your
pick my
context,
bitch ass up.
in your context, it's the Hearst song.
It's so jaunty and it's like a gospel.
I do,
And
yeah,
it
because he
seems so
opens it like
fun.
a gospel. Like he's just like, because it's nice and it's like really slow the way he intros it, and then when he drops that fucking when he drops into the picking, like he just picks up the tempo like threefold and goes right into the tune. No, you're right.
Hmm.
There's a lot of gospel in that tune.
And he's like just talking so candidly with Jesus. He's like, I know it's sick. Get me in the Cadillac. Like not even like you. Like not like, oh, I can't wait to go to heaven. He's like, no, cut it out. We're gonna pull up to the gates. We're gonna just post up.
It's fucking great. It is a great song. It is definitely a
Yeah.
great song. No, I love that. I love that tune too. I love this whole thing. Like, there's very few tracks on it that I dislike, and I know it's not a studio album, and I know that these are it's
Right.
compiled, but it's fucking awesome. I remember the first time I gave this you know this handful of songs or whatever you want to call it, this compiled list of songs, this playlist of Blaze Foley tunes. I remember I listened to this whole thing on repeat for like 2 days, like all day at work. I was just like, just tapping along. It just kind of it fits for a working day. Like I really think like it's great music in the background of a working day. Like it really is. It just kind of just taps along and you get intimate with the songs and you get to know their melodies and where he's going and what he's singing about. And his voice is nice and low and he's great, man. Blaze Foley was R.I.P. because I think he had a bright future, and it was self sabotaged in many ways, and in other ways cut short by the
You
barrel
know
of the
what? I
gun.
feel like sometimes people talk about like, oh, this person ruined their life. This rock star ruined their life by doing drugs and alcohol. Maybe they only got there because of the drugs and alcohol. Has anyone ever thought about that?
It's a
Like
very
that's the
interesting
underlying.
conversation. No,
They all get there and they all do it.
is it a good
So
trade though? That's the question. Is it like
it is for us.
is it yeah, for us, but is it immoral to call for that? Like is it should we want that for our artists, or should we
Well,
try to
think
find a new way?
well, that's kind of like what a lot of people argue in hip hop. They're like, just because it takes like ideally, without for lack of a better word, like murder, selling drugs, doing drugs,
No,
being
because
like
not because
promiscuous.
there's been a movement. The difference is that there's been a movement of that genre of music being hyper successful without that stuff. Like the conscious hip hop movement of like the early 2000s to 2010s was hyper successful.
No Name won like album of the year, I think.
What did?
And No Name, and she's like a very conscious rapper.
Wait, when was that?
What was it last year?
No name. I don't know. I don't know that. Oh, if it's last year, then I definitely
Well,
don't. I'm so
let me
out
see
of the
how.
loop.
Um,
I guess I just mean to say that like the difference with rap music is I think rap music can do that. It's just it's kind of unfortunately developed this culture of like that being, and Lupe talks about this a lot, and especially some of his newer songs about like how that culture is really kind of like it's got rap music by in a chokehold, and the culture it's become they've integrated, right, they've become one and the same. The culture of like drug dealing and violent hip hop music is unfortunately created a culture that actually exercises some of the stuff that's being rapped about. Whereas like back in the 90s, like NWA wasn't like those guys weren't doing the shit they were saying they were doing in their rap songs. They were just writing rap songs about NWA wasn't rapping about they weren't doing the things they were rapping about. Neither was I mean things kind of started to take a different shape when Tupac and Biggie were killed, but um I don't know. I think there's a big difference. But anyways, what do you let's take a short break, and then when we come back, let's you want to do our rating and review?
yeah.
All right, let's do it. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back with you guys in just a moment. After the short break, then we'll give our rating and review for "Sitting by the Road" by Blaze Foley. See you in a moment.
Just sit by the road, not a doubt in my mind. But if you believe that, you believe anything. Staying when it's nice, go out when it rains. What's bad about that? When you're sitting by the road. Sit by the road. Just take off your shoes, play with your feet. Need cigarettes, don't need nothing to eat. When you sit by the road, doing your time.
All right, welcome back, folks. That was "Sitting by the Road" with by Blaze Foley. Talk that album 1, 2, 3, 1 through 12, every track. I think it's a great album. Errol, why don't you? I started last time. Why don't you kick us off with a little review of what your thoughts are on the music itself, and give us a rating out of 10.
So it's kind of right in my wheelhouse. Like for like how I feel, just like a happy-go-lucky, but not so happy all the time. And also sometimes not so go lucky, but like just trying your best. So it just seems very honest because of that. Like you get a glimpse of the man. He's not a bad guy, but he's not like not great stuff doesn't happen to him. So it's hard to stay like stoic in the face of all that. And like you just see what he tells you what he's going through a little bit. And it's almost campy like how it
That's why I
is.
kind of picked
It's
it because I mean I thought that I picked this one. This was my pick for we kind of alternate picks, but this one was mine, and I thought it really fit well with our podcast. because it truly is peripheral. He's an underground artist, and he does have a following of some kind, but not a very big one. And I really thought that you would I thought you would get a lot of joy out of listening to it. You there still?
Yeah,
Did I lose you?
yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah. You're right.
Yeah. So okay, that's a good start. Why don't you give us your rating out of 10? What do you think?
Um,
Not
I
oh,
really,
not
I
muted this
really,
time.
yeah. No, I really like it. Um, I wouldn't say that it's like one of my like favorite things, like top tier media, but I do think it's like worth a listen, and I think it's for the production value, and that's another thing. I will always get if you do less production and like do more with less, that's exponential in my book. Because of that, I give this a 8.5.
Ooh, another 8.5 for Errol. Wow.
Yeah,
You really liked it. Okay, that's excellent. I'm glad
yeah.
to hear that. No, I'm glad to hear that, especially because I kind of introduced it to you. So I was really hoping you'd like it. I kind of had a feeling you would. Um I think what I love about we can dive into mine now too. I'll do my little spiel about it, and it won't take too long. But the one thing I've learned about this album over time is that I love this album, or I love this group of songs more specifically because how well it ages. I love this more and more as I listen to it more. I get more familiar with the songs, and they're so repeatable and they're so re-listenable. Um, I think they're just great. I think it's and he was such a talented artist, and it is such a tragic story. I'm glad that Ethan Hawke made the film about him. I will eventually watch that film, and I think everybody should go check it out because he had a very interesting story. Ben Dickey, who plays Blaze in the film, is also a very talented artist. What is the radio station? The Seattle radio station. I'll pull it up right now while I'm kind of killing time. Um, WKXP, I believe. Yes, anyone who's interested in listening to a couple of stories about Blaze Foley, listening to a couple of his songs performed by Ben Dickey, along with some other music. He and Ethan Hawke sit down and they talk about the film. They talk about Blaze Foley. They talk. They play a couple of tunes on. Check that out on YouTube. Ethan Hawke and Ben Dickey discuss Blaze full performance KEXP. That's the Seattle radio station. It's a great little inside lane to what goes on with what went on with Blaze Foley and what his life was like, and you get to hear some stories about Blaze, and it's really just he was a fascinating guy, and I hope we can talk Towns Van Sant sometime too, because I really think the biggest contribution he made was his writing. I thought that there was a really high skill level of writing that was just kind of getting started. I know he was 39, but I think his best years were ahead of him if he had just gotten that on the tracks. It's a bummer to lose the guy at such a young age at 39, as rough a life as he lived. Um, but this collection of songs in this order and these recordings, they're some of my favorite to listen to. And I'm gonna give it. I'm not gonna actually. I'm gonna give it a lower rating than Arrow, but not by much. The only thing I will say, I prefer. I guess maybe if I'm gonna demerit it anything, I would have just loved to hear these songs. I love hearing them in the low fidelity. It makes my day to listen to stuff like that because it's so raw and it's so straight from the heart. But I guess without a studio version or a studio album version, I think that would have really elevated these songs, because I do think they're if they had had some backing instrumentation, steel guitars, grand pianos, stuff that we talked about, maybe an electric sound. I really think they could have elevated the songs. These songs were, as they're stripped down, I love them as they are, but I do think they were tailor made for beautiful country songs, big ballad country songs they could have been. So for me,
I
it's a big fat 8 out of 10.
Yeah, no, nothing wrong with that. I think I gave it the 0.5 because I prefer it stripped down.
I thought so. Yeah, I thought
It's
so.
like a true peek into like what was going on without like being
It's so raw. It's just
yeah,
right
without
there.
being altered as much as like it could while still presenting something. Because we could have very well not had this.
Yeah, very much so. Because it's there. These were all these recordings were done in the treehouse. So like he was living in this treehouse with his wife Sybil, and like you really feel like you're in the treehouse with them when you listen to it because of how raw and how lo-fi it is. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it feels like he sits you right down.
I just feel I guess I'd only take points off. It's not to take points off of necessarily the songs. I think the songs are amazing. I think I'm only I feel like just because of what happened to him, his story was incomplete. And I would have just so much I would so much love to, and I hate to take points off for a tragic loss or a tragic death, but and I'm not really taking points off. I just how I feel about these songs. I think an 8 out of 10 is solid for me. That feels
Pretty
about right.
pretty good, but he could have did better if he didn't die. -2 points.
Fucking.
You heard it here from Jake, folks.
I listen.
-2 for a skill
I'm a
issue.
real tough grade. I'm a tough grade. You got to
I'll tell
live.
you, he would have easily got one more star if he grabbed that gun from the guy and turned it on him.
Wait till you
He
hear what
won.
I wait till you hear what I've got to say about Kurt Cobain. I'm just getting warmed up. 2 out of 10. Never mind. I think it's a great album.
Kurt Cobain, 1 out of 2. It was a sawed off, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say 1 out of 2 shots.
2 barrels.
That's dark. That's very dark. All right, let's close this thing out. It was great to talk about Blaze Foley. I was really happy that we got to it. Thank you, Errol, for diving into that because it is it's a great collection of songs. I thought you'd enjoy it, and I'm glad we got.
Yeah, thank you for showing it to me. I did enjoy it.
Yeah, good. Okay, great. So coming up next on the Peripheral Views podcast, we kind of announced it in the fireside chat what was on deck. We're so far so good. We're staying on task. Next week we're gonna have we're gonna have an episode that's going to tackle psychedelic medicine. We haven't really ironed out. I don't know about you, Errol. I've started a lot of small bits of research, but they're kind of scattered. So we're going to tighten things up and try to start pulling that episode all together, and then we'll sit down and record it sometime about a week from now, and it'll be out next Monday. So that being said, there will also be on the back half of that episode, we're going to have an interview with Errol's uncle. What's your uncle's name? Why don't you introduce him to the audience again?
No, my uncle Mick McCarthy has a testimonial.
Yes, this is going to be fantastic. He's had we're going to kind of talk about his experience. He has had a medicinal psychedelic experience for purposes that he's going to describe, and downstream effects that he's going to talk to us about. We've got a nice little array of questions that we're going to kind of run by him, and he can describe his experience, and we'll sit down and do that interview sometime in the next week as well, and then we'll put those two parts of the episode together, and we'll have it out for you guys next Monday, so to be on the lookout for that. Errol, do you have anything else you would like to add to the pod before we close things out?
No, not really, other than it was like you said, man that was tragically struck down. He was incredibly talented, so it's kind of a shame that we didn't get to see like a true magnum opus, because you could see that he was definitely just toying around with being very talented.
He was just getting the engine started.
He was just sitting by the road, dude.
Just getting warmed up, sitting by the road. All right, beautiful. That being said, 8 out of 5, 8.5 for Errol out of 10, 8 out of 10 for me. Another high rating. We're gonna probably start hitting some stuff that's gonna get lower ratings at some point around these parts, but in the meantime, not yet. Still good stuff so far. So that being said, we are on X at Peripheral V123. We are on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. If you listen to us on any of those platforms, please do us a huge favor and subscribe, rate, and review. Helps us tremendously with our analytics, with algorithms, gets prompts the growth that we're looking for this year. It really would be a tremendous help to us if you folks could do us the solid. peripheralviewspodcast.com. That's the website. Check us out there. All the content we record is up on that website at all times, along with we do have a ratings page on there. So you can always check back in with us if you could, you want to see what our rating was for something, and you can go back into that page and check out. It's all going to get posted there too. We are on also on soundcloud.com/peripheralviews123. If you happen to use that, all of our content is up there as well. If you want to reach us more directly, we are at, you can reach us by email at peripheralviewspodcast@gmail.com. And our library is growing. This is the 4th installment of our music series. We've got about 7 or 8 films in that series. We've got some biographies coming up. We've got more music coming up, more film. We've got history stuff coming up. So we're really starting to continue to diversify. We've got a bunch of different series in the podcast launched and growing. So just keep tabs on all that stuff as it develops. And next week, we'll be talking a little psychedelic medicine. But in the meantime, we appreciate all the listenership we've acquired so far. Thank you guys again. Check back in with us on Monday for that episode. And we look forward to seeing you all next again on the next round of the Peripheral News Podcast.
Let me ride in your big Cadillac, oh Jesus. Let me ride in your big Cadillac. I can see the pearly gates where the angels wait, standing all around your big Cadillac. Won't you take me by the hand, lead me to the promised land, and let me ride in your big Cadillac. Does St. Peter know that I want to go for a ride in your big Cadillac? Ride those streets paved with gold where nobody will get old, riding in the back of your big Cadillac. Let me ride in your big Cadillac, Lord Jesus, let me ride in your big Cadillac. Let me ride in your big Cadillac, Lord, Lord, just let me ride in your big Cadillac. In my mansion so grand, I can hear an angel band, and I see the keys to your big Cadillac. Take me by your nail-scarred hand, lead me out of this old world, and let me ride in your big Cadillac. I'm so tired of walking around, let me hear your trumpet sound, and let me ride in your big Cadillac. Heard you traded in your cross to God the Father, God the boss. Now let me ride in your big Cadillac. Let me ride in your big Cadillac, Lord Jesus, let me ride in your big Cadillac. Let me ride in your big Cadillac, Lord, Lord, just let me ride in your big Cadillac.